So this is my second part of a 3-part series that I'm doing, basically just covering my first, second, and third trimester during my pregnancy. The second part is obviously going to be dedicated to my second trimester, so that's what I'm going to be discussing in this video. If you want to see my overview of the first trimester before you watch this one to see what I went through prior, there will be a link to that in the description below. And if you want to see more about my third trimester, that will also be in the description below. So let's get started on my second trimester. My first trimester had been miserable. It was not a very enjoyable experience, but by the time my second trimester rolled around, things started to change. I had felt really bad fatigue and nausea throughout my first trimester. Second trimester comes and my energy definitely started to boost at that point. I could focus again. I wasn't feeling quite as sick. I still got really nauseous, but it was only if I didn't eat. So essentially I learned as long as I was eating something throughout the day, I wasn't really feeling nauseous. But that led me to gain 30 pounds in my second trimester. So you are supposed to gain 25 to 35 pounds your entire pregnancy. And by the time I reached 6 months, I had gained 35 pounds total. 5 pounds in my first trimester, 30 pounds in my second trimester. In order to prevent the nauseous feeling from kicking in, I was eating constantly, and I was eating whatever I wanted. I definitely had that really bad I'm eating for two complex. I was eating pizza and bread, tons of carbs. Like, carbs were a huge thing because carbs do help you feel full. It takes away that nauseous feeling, and I think that's why I reach for them a lot. But those calories added up, and my body was just, it was like, now is the time to put on pounds. It was prepping for baby. It was putting on fat like you could not imagine. It was gung-ho about just storing the weight. So I gained about 10 pounds a month for 3 months, which is insane. And obviously in that time, I blew up. And because of that, my body was really achy, adjusting to all of the weight, and I was really like just waterlogged. My face was swollen. So that was really my main physical discomfort, but that was brought on purely by me just eating like an idiot, honestly. Eating really irresponsibly. I was also just like really hungry, and that might have been because I got in the habit of eating constantly. So maybe it was a mental thing, maybe it was anytime I saw like a slight sign that I was going to feel nauseous, I knew I needed food to prevent that. And I also think a part of it was just pregnancy hormones making me really hungry. I think the biggest pain that I felt, aside from just feeling bloated, was back pain during that time. I just got like a lot of crampy, achy feelings in my back. So I took a lot of baths, not hot baths, but just baths in general, because it kind of alleviates all the weight to be sitting in water. And I found that that was one thing that really helped with the back pain. With that being said, I was so happy when my fatigue from the first trimester went away, and I had so much energy in my second trimester. I mean, I could wake up at 5 a.m. and be just like go until 7 o'clock at night. I was on top of everything. Like, I truly felt like I could get anything done. The house was always clean, and I was super motivated to clean. I wanted everything to be really neat and spick and span and organized and hygienic. So like, there was rarely a time when chores weren't done. And along with that, I was also like really into my home business, and I was running it really well, and everything was super stable. So although I had really struggled with all of those things in the first trimester, by the time the second trimester came around, I had the opportunity to catch up because I just had this intense burst of energy. I felt pretty focused most of the time, but I also tended to get pregnancy brain at really random times pretty frequently throughout my second trimester. I would just have these moments where I could not think of a word. Like, there was one specific moment I remember where my husband and I were watching football, and in 2017 there was a lot of controversy around the Star Spangled Banner and everyone kneeling. Well, when they were singing the song, I could not for the life of me think of the name of the Star Spangled Banner. I was like, what is that song they sing for the flag? The red, white, and blue song. My husband was like, the national anthem. So, I mean, that's just an example, but there were so many times where I just forgot things, just could not remember really simple words when I was talking, and I just felt like I was kind of in this weird fog. Super weird. It lasted about 2 months, and it would happen, 3 or 4 times a day. I've never had anything like that before. Other than that, I was focused, but the pregnancy brain, when it kicked in, I was like, it's just so weird how you can just be like so dumb all of a sudden. I definitely also got more acne in my second trimester than I had in my first or third. And I believe that is largely in part to the fact that I was eating like crap. So I was not eating healthy in my second trimester at all. Like I said, lots of carbs, lots of refined sugar, lots of salt, and I think that just led to my skin just becoming really unhealthy. So I don't think that was part of the pregnancy per se, but it was something I experienced at that time. As I mentioned in my first trimester video, my restless leg syndrome kicked up really bad. That stayed through the second trimester and got pretty intense by the end of the second trimester. I was to the point where I was really struggling to fall asleep at night because my legs were so jittery feeling. I also, in my second trimester, started to develop acid reflux. I've never had heartburn in my life. I've never had acid reflux in my life. Something I've truly never experienced, and it came hard and it came fast. And I got acid reflux to the point, it started out relatively mild, where just when I was laying down, I would kind of have that feeling in your throat that you kind of have stomach acid coming up. But by the end of my second trimester, it was to the point where if I drank water, if I drank milk, no matter how little of a meal I ate, it felt like I was going to vomit because there was acid reflux coming up into my throat. And I could not lay down for 2 or 3 hours after I ate because it would come right back into my throat. If I did lay down and I fell asleep, I would usually wake up choking on my own vomit. There were multiple times in the middle of the night where my husband and I had had a late dinner and I would wake up choking on my own puke, and the only way that I could save myself was to just lean over the bed and just start vomiting. It was horrible. So my OBGYN prescribed me a medication for that, and that definitely helped. I now take that religiously 2 times a day, once in the morning, once at night, and it helps. In the second trimester, it pretty much completely eliminated the acid reflux, but in the third trimester, it's come back with a little bit of vengeance. And my last symptom that I had was that my sex drive came back really intensely. First trimester, it was pretty much gone entirely. Second trimester, it came back, and I was like, I want to get it on all the time. As for cravings, in my first trimester, I mentioned it was shrimp. And in my second trimester, it was a combination of things. So I was still craving meats and things, proteins, but not nearly as intensely as I had in the first trimester. The second trimester, I just started eating like crap, and I was eating lots of carbs, so I think I was craving lots of carbs because I was eating lots of them. A weird thing that I had never liked before, but all of a sudden now that I'm pregnant, I do, is donuts. Like I love donuts now, and it's weird. My entire life I've never really been a fan of donuts. Now I want donuts all the time. And then my 2 other weird cravings in my second trimester were ketchup and mayonnaise. I wanted anything that I could just dip in ketchup, and I wanted sandwiches with tons of mayonnaise on them. Baby movements started in the second trimester, which was very exciting. I think I felt like my first baby movements around 17 weeks. But because this is my first pregnancy, I really didn't know what it was. I just knew when I was laying in the bathtub, I'd feel this little flutter, and I wasn't sure if it was a baby movement or not. But by around 22 weeks, I was pretty sure I was feeling something. It was like a tap on the inside of my stomach. And at that point, I was pretty sure I was feeling baby kicks. By 26 weeks, I knew I was feeling baby kicks. I could definitely feel them moving around. So that was really neat. And I really started to learn about them then, you know, when they were active, how active they were. They were really active. They've been active pretty much since they started kicking. They've been very, very active. And I also learned that they loved peanut butter. This kid goes crazy when I eat anything with peanut. If I just have like a tiny bite of peanut butter or a peanut butter flavored cookie or a peanut butter sandwich, my child just starts kicking frantically. They either love peanut butter or they hate it and they want to get away from the taste. But I think that they love it because they get super excited for it. The other thing they love, which makes sense if you watch my first trimester video, is shrimp. That's the other thing that they tend to get super excited and really start squirming for. Peanut butter is the biggest thing though. If I am going somewhere, like for an ultrasound or a doctor's appointment, and I know they want the baby to be moving around a little bit, peanut butter will do it. Peanut butter will do it every time. If I want someone to be able to feel my stomach and feel the baby kick, peanut butter. So I'm really excited to see if when they come out of the womb and they start kind of gaining a personality and taste buds, if my breast milk after I've had peanut butter is more appealing to them, and then also if they like peanut butter as they get old enough to eat that food. So that's pretty much an overview of my second trimester. It was so much better than my first trimester. The energy alone, granted I had some other negative side effects or symptoms come into play, but not being fatigued was such a huge relief, and that energy boost and getting things done and having the house clean, it was amazing. So I definitely got that second trimester energy, which is great. And now I'm going to move on to my third trimester video. So as I mentioned before, if you're interested in continuing on this story with me and listening to my last trimester overview, feel free to see the link to that in the description below.